live up in this piece. What's going on, my friends? It's early as hell on a Thursday, 6:08 a.m. to be exact, here on the West Coast. Got an interesting setup going on here. I always like to take a look at the 5-minute right out the gates. Just kind of see, what's cracking. Right now, we have what looks like a short setup in the making if you were unaware of the power of the 21 EMA on this 5-minute, especially at the open. And as you can see here, market wants to go higher, it looks like to me. This looks like a short bait or bear bait, as we would call it. Although we are right at this weekly order block. Now we're deep into the monthly order block. Not deep, but we're digging into it. We're going to take a look at that in a second. The weekly, we're just touching it right here at the midpoint. This looks like a point where we should sell it. But you can see we've bounced off the 21 so far. It actually looks like an order block was formed here. We should expect higher prices. So I'm not going to take anything this early. We're going to wait and see what happens here. But this could be a bearish order block right here. Could be. We'll see if it rejects, comes back down here. Ideally, if we are going to short this, we're just going to go ahead and say this out loud. We want to see a break of structure. So we want to see this come down, get below this price over here, come back up here. That would be the short play. I don't know. For whatever reason, yesterday, Meta, I sold my Meta at the exact wrong time. A couple days before earnings, I was like, you know what? I was just up so much, and I felt like I had to sell something. I'm like, okay, let me sell Meta. And then it's up it's going to be up like $15 or $20 a share today. It's okay. Nobody went broke taking a profit. So now this fair value gap here is inverting again, it looks like, and it's not confirmed yet. We'll see what happens with this. But so interesting stuff going on the 5-minute early today. Never a dull day in the markets. So interesting about it. It's so intriguing. Let's get rid of the kill zones quick. Okay, here's the monthly. So you can see we're going to finish this month in the middle of next week, and you can look at this candle. This looks like a very bullish move here. We got the fair value gap here on the monthly higher after kind of an indecision candle, which bounced off the 21 EMA. Look at that. This is just we see this on the 1-minute time frame and the 5-minute time frame. Fake outs underneath the 21 EMA, right? Fake outs underneath the 21 EMA. Usually it's a pretty big run that comes. So it's going to be hard to not be bullish today and not try to somehow find a way to get long. But you can see this right here is, see that guy? Big old friggin' guy right there. That is the bearish order block on the monthly, which we've touched several times, and we kicked the door in finally. Now working on the weekly one here. So it's going to take some oomph to get moving through here. But it is very, very tough to claim any type of bearishness with this current formation. We're going to keep an eye on 4668. That's a number we're going to look at today. A lot of confluence at that number, 4668. I'm not going to necessarily draw it on the chart, but I'm going to have that number in mind for now. Let's go look at this weekly order block that we're just starting to touch. And this is it right here. Classic bearish order block formation. Big sell-off last time we got to this point. There was a very big sell-off. Bitty big. So, but, you need good news. You need something big to propel through stuff like this. You do. You need momentum. And you can see the rejection here on the weekly. Last week, a lot of rejection at that monthly order block. But this week, we cutting through. So still, I'm going to say has to be pretty darn bullish, even though we're up against resistance. There's just a lot of momentum here. A lot of momentum. Anything can happen, though. We're going to be prepared for anything. I was kind of hoping to get some rejection back into this area here. And not that it won't be a good area to play later, but if it takes like 9 months, like if this goes up and stays up here forever, then it comes down, it won't be as relevant, right? Like if this rejection had come down here, this area would be super duper relevant, and it would have just been such an obvious buy. I've been licking my chops, but we didn't get that lucky. So this is the daily. Punching up, it's touching that thing. Tough to long right up against it, but man, you'd be a fool to ignore just how much momentum there is here. And fair value gap on the 4-hour right at the monthly. So if this comes down and bounces, and it very well may, guys. Look at that. Interesting. So if we do come back to the start of this monthly bearish order block and it becomes support, that'd be huge. Now that's 4605. So I don't think we're going to see 4605 today. I'm just talking about down the road, maybe 2 weeks from now. Never know, though. Never know. It could just be a huge sell-off today. Got to keep all possibilities in mind. Don't get stuck with a pre-market bias. It's bad news. Here's the 1 hour. Let's go ahead and get the kill zones back up, which this is just showing you the 6 a.m. The official beginning of the New York session, if you will. 9 a.m. Sorry, Eastern. I'm trying to get used to saying Eastern time. And on the 1 hour, that's the first thing that looks bearish. You have to get down to the 1 hour. From the 4 hour and up, it looks super bullish. And this isn't even bearish, mind you, but has the beginnings of what could be a bearish move. 15 minutes before the open. Speaking of 15 minutes, it's got the old trusty 15-minute chart. A couple bounces off of this 15-minute fair value gap right here, which is lining up pretty nicely. We're going to plot this one. Don't normally plot the 15 minutes. There we go, but I think this one is worthy of it because of the alignment with the 21 EMA. We're just going to know what that is. Seen some rejection off of this bearish order block here. We're actually going to plot this one too. This is the first time we've visited this area. We've been in this cell block for a long time. And that makes it more ripe for an initial reaction. For there to be big sell orders up here. And sometimes, a good reason to plot these is just to know, like, tell yourself, because it's so easy to chase. Like if this thing were to start really selling off, you go, oh, I knew it was going down. And then you go and you short right here. And then it bounces up and takes you out and then goes down. It's just sort of a reminder, like even if we are bearish, even if we get bearish price action, let it come down. It'll bounce off something and then we'll find a place to get in. Don't chase it. This is important. Yeah. Is it a bear trap? Could be. Could be. Let's see what this thing's doing pre-market. Meta's the big one. Oh my God. Oh my God. $28 a share in pre-market. Should have waited a couple of days. Oh, gutted. Gutted. No one ever went broke taking a profit, but goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. I feel like a gut punch. So I think it would be pretty weird if we had, the market raging for Meta like this and then like selling off the S&P. Wouldn't that be weird? I mean, it's possible, but that's why I'm skeptical right now. It would seem to make sense that, hey, this is a short. You could just go ahead and take it. Just go ahead and take this. If we can get an entry at 30 or higher, just go ahead and take it. Put your stop up here at 35 and, good to go. But it's just hard that's why sometimes you do have to pay attention to stocks. It's hard to believe that we're going to have, Meta open the day up. How much percentage? 10%. Oh my gosh. That's the thing, about selling or buying pre-earnings is sometimes you're like, whew. And sometimes you're like, oh. What's crazy is how much money they've lost and how much the street loves the quarter. That's what's interesting about Meta right now. Yeah. I mean, I think if you short it here, it's akin to a knife catch. Not exactly, but akin. Okay, right up against the order block again. I wonder if we make it a darker color of red. Will that help it? Will that help us give us an easy trade? A lot of things look bearish here. Could also be a situation where, Meta does gap up and then sells off. That'd be so you can just see the little battle going on here between this bullish order block, this bearish one. Like I said, you don't have to be in a hurry to do anything here, because if it does sell off, I don't think it will just run away from us. I think we will get a bounce, at least right here. And that should be enough to give us a good entry point. If it sells off. It doesn't look like it wants to right now. Also note, wicking right here. So has not closed inside of this or inside of this one yet. It's just pinging back and forth. Which direction you want to bet on? Usually I would say, bet on the 21 EMA to work out. But this bullish fair value gap has been violated a little bit more than this bearish one. And like I said, we're just touching this weekly order block, which we have not been here in a long, long time. Many, many, many weeks. Gonna get a gap up 35 points. Will the gap get filled? Boy, that'd be interesting. This could be a situation if price opens in here. This very well could be a situation where we will actually just go ahead and short the open. And we'll either get our face ripped off. It's fine. That's why you have a stop. And now we got a jumper. Look at that 5-minute jumper. See it? One candle to the next. We got a jumper. Either way, I'm expecting a lot of volatility here at the open. Now, if it were to come all the way down here on this candle, we're just less than 5 minutes away from the opening. Print. If it were to come here, E-mini Maverick getting a message. Good morning, everyone. We made it through the major events of this month. Now we are moving into the window dressing portion of the month end. Good point. Good point from the E-mini Maverick. So one of the things, and that's just my boy Drew, one of the things that he always reminds me of is at the end of the month, particularly at the end of the quarter, but definitely at the end of the month, you see a lot of times they'll run prices up, window dressing, to make their portfolios look good for when, clients are taking a look at their statements and whatnot. So from a Wall Street perspective, he calls this window dressing. All right, let's see, what is this at 30? If we're going to short, we're going to need to do it at 30. Actually, that would work. If it's super volatile at the open, then we'll probably just relax for a little bit and see what the opening range looks like, and then trade around that. Or this could just be another day where I have it all drawn up perfectly, my bias is accurate, and we don't get a trade. Looking heavy here so far. This could easily be bait, though. Gotta be careful. This is always very skeptical. The 5-minute candle before the opening candle is not one to be trusted. It's not. If we had taken this short up here, I still feel fine about it, but I would be expecting to be in drawdown at some point out the gates. So let's see. We may just need to see what the opening candle does. So if this closes bearish like this, but then the opening candle closes above it, then we have kind of a weird situation where I'm going to say, like, no trade, Realizing, truly understanding. I think most people who trade or have been trading sort of know subconsciously that there's always going to be another day. There's always going to be another great setup. You know that because you know the markets have been around forever and they're not going anywhere. But you will act like, oh, if I don't take this trade right now, I'll never get another chance. it's that urgency that they play on. That is how they rob you. It's because of that mentality. I think the most important thing is to make sure that you don't think that way. That you know that it's okay. Like, if this doesn't give me what I'm looking for, I don't have to take it. All right, here we go. Tiny spike up. Damn it. So look at this. We'll see what happens with it, but look, remember our jumper? Yeah, just filled it. And then started moving lower. Let's see what this candle does. Remember, a lot of fake outs happen on the first opening candle. This is not necessarily a setup that I can trade. For my plan, I wanted it to be. If we had been a little bit higher, I could have been able to do it. And here we go. So this is one of those cases where it looks like taking it pre-market would have been a good move. Now we have a break of structure. Okay, so if we're just looking at the market structure here, this was higher low, right? Now we have a lower low. So we should expect off of this lower low, and we also have a lower high. So there's a market structure shift taking place here. So it appears. And so what we want to look for here is we want to look for a return from that back to the order block, which would be up here, right? That would be the primary order block. The propulsion block is this one. Or a return to a fair value gap, which we have this guy right here. So we need to see once this candle closes, so let's say 32, so 27, okay. We're still expecting a bounce from down here from 25. Now, if they were going to take this thing much higher, this is probably how they would start it off, but I don't know if we're going to really see that today. I do expect some volatility, probably a big sell-off and then a big rally. And this is why you have to be sort of skeptical of the opening candle, because obviously there's volatility taking place today. Let's just check out. Yeah, so Meta's opening up massively higher. Bitcoin's creeping back up. Tesla's up $4 as well. Everybody's getting in on it. A few minutes in. So one thing's about the reason why I like trading the 5-minute chart is because I do believe that it's the most manipulated. And so when you understand the manipulation, it becomes easier to understand what's going on with it. But a lot of times the first half of the candle, so the first 2.5 minutes, is fake out when it's an important candle, like the opening candle. The first 2.5 minutes would be fake out, or certain times of the day that happens, like 10 minutes before the close and other certain times. You kind of use that information to your advantage. So if we had shorted this, we'd be like, oh, Nikes, not good, right? Now we are inside of the order block, but we have all kinds of momentum. This is a rubber band shot all happening in the first candle, which makes me less inclined to want to short this guy. makes me much less inclined to do so. Whereas if this had kind of, spent a few candles coming down here, bouncing off here, and then coming up here, now we have, it could be a seek and destroy type day too, but our lower high has now been violated. Now this could still end up being a lower high, right? It's not bullish yet. It needs to crest this, needs to break that to be bullish. A lot of momentum on that side of things right at the moment. We could see a bearish order block formed. And if we do, that'd be a time to get in. Holy smokes. Yep, we got volatility here, folks. Volatility we have. The throwback to the 21, and it's bouncing off of that. When you see those kinds of candles, a lot of times that's bait. You see a really fast move down or a really fast move up. It's designed to play on your emotions to try to get you to go, oh, it's time to short it now. And it very well could be. It very well could be. But you can't trust that. Don't ever trade off of just that. Sometimes it'll be right, but sometimes it'll be exactly wrong. Do have a break of structure. I did return to the order block. We're going to take this guy. We got to break a structure. We got to return to the order block. We're in the 5-minute order block. We're inside of a weekly bearish order block. Expecting some volatility here. Let's see what happens. Kind of one of those days where you expect it to sell off and then rally. See some accumulation here. Let's get rid of this for a second. We've gapped up. It is good news. It is the window dressing time of the month, so I do expect the day to finish positive today. Definitely do expect that. And let's go over here. We gotta get our split screen going. I remember when I first started trading, I trade the 1-minute chart and just get smoked. Gosh, I got smoked. And I remember multiple times being like, I can't trade this thing. Like, this chart is just, it's the death of me. Let's see, we can also use the 1-minute chart is wild, right? And I started moving more toward the 5-minute, just, to not get whipsawed too much. But as I've progressed and learned, the 1-minute chart is actually very interesting because, of course, it's just a zoom in, right? It's just you're zooming in on what's taking place. You can just see it's like under a microscope. So you can see like little mini trends taking place and whatnot. So we're actually firing off, we're delivering from a bullish fair value gap to a bearish fair value gap on the 1-minute. So when there's a lot of volatility, you will see that kind of thing. And the 1-minute has a little bit less validity. But here we're just making a bet on the first touch of this weekly bearish order block. That's really what it is. Break of structure, return to the 5-minute order block on the bear side. And that's what the bet is. Now, this thing could go higher. If it does, do I have any targets up here? It's blue ocean if it goes higher. So that could be very interesting for the next potential setup during silver bullet if this does go higher and does take us out, it could be a really, really interesting AM session. Let's put it that way. Because I mean, it's blue ocean up there, and that might be exactly what they're doing. And remember too, as we take in the drawdown now, we're in the profit for a little while, we're in the drawdown. This is what happens when you trade the open though. Congress, particularly it's in the Senate, it's senators, it's a bipartisan Senate bill that is going to make it illegal for anyone in the executive or legislative branch of government or their families to trade stocks. And I've been calling this, I want you to pay close attention to that, because that is when we are going to top. We got a jumper to the high side here. Jumper high here. So if this goes and makes a new high here, then it's all over. All over for this trade, which I'm fine with. Because ideally, if you take a trade that's a loser, which haven't had a full stop out in so long, I'm so due. Like, just get it over with. If it's good, you know what I mean? Just like if it's today, then okay, let's go, get it done. I'm so due for a full stop out. It's been so long. But ideally, when you do take a trade and you do get stopped out, you really want it to be an invalidation. You really want it to tell you that, like, hey, the market's actually going the other way. And I should really be looking at trades in the other direction. This bearish order block right here would 100% flip to a buy zone if we were to come up here and create market structure. So if this jets up here, which it could very well be doing right now, if this jets up here and then, creates some market structure and comes back to this area, 1,000,000% that's a buy area. That completely changed the game on what's possible today. We could be up 100 points in the S&P today. Just based on this, one of those days where something like that could happen. Window dressing, right? Plus the huge reaction to the Meta quarter. I don't know what everyone's so excited about personally, but all right. They like it, the market likey. And the window dressing aspect, the big quarter, the blue ocean. It could be one of those days when you see a day where you see that right there, another jumper on the 1 minute, right at resistance too. It looks like it wants to go higher, guys. We are, I wish I was on the other side of this. I will not flip it. I do not reverse. As I place the trade, I follow my rules. And we are not, since we're in the negative, I'm not even setting my alerts. I'm a little bit superstitious about that. I'm not going to set my alerts until we're actually looking like we might hit them. So we got in at right at 30? We got it at 30.25. Okay, so our target would be 20.25. I don't know how that happened. Back down to break even. So there is rejection coming out of there. Not significant rejection though. Not yet anyway. The thing that I notice about the opening 5-minute candle here, let's get this distraction out of the way here, is that it respected the bearish order block and disrespected the bullish. Because we had, this one you could say was a bullish order block. This one you could say was a bullish order block. So it disrespected some bullish order blocks there, cleaned out some longs, if you will, did not clean out these shorts. Now, that doesn't always mean that we're going lower. But if you were to show me just that candle and go, hey, gun to your head, you have to trade this. Which way would you want to trade it? I would want to go in the direction that was respected by that opening volatility. And in this case, that'd be the sell side. Now, we obviously could have gotten a better entry. We didn't get a great entry. We could have taken an entry in the order block. There were multiple opportunities to do so. Just didn't do it at the right time. And so now we're living in drawdown right now, just watching it work against us. not the place you want to be, but it is what it is. So we shall see. But again, I'm cool with it. I'm super due for a full stop out. Haven't had one in weeks. I've been stopped out, but not a full stop out. So a full stop out is 5 points for me. And I haven't had one of those, but I have been stopped out for less. Done a pretty good job of managing losses. This one would be a full stop out if it took us out, but it would definitely, validate. It's an invalidation, so it would validate the bull case in a major way if we were to get up there. Yesterday's trade was very similar to this. We're in drawdown forever and then finally just nuked. I don't know if we can get that 2 days in a row or not. We gonna try. It definitely doesn't seem to want to go 25, 50, we're in at 35. There's not a tremendous amount of rejection coming out of this order block. I mean, we can see that. It looks like it wants to fight through this. Who's going to win? Buyers or the sellers? Right now, advantage buyers, right? It's like in a deuce if we're playing tennis. What do they say? Add in, add out. It's definitely advantage buyers right now. Looks like a lot of bear bait to me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not rooting to be stopped out. I just know that I'm due. You can't trade without taking losers. Never be able to. Even the guys you see, on Instagram that crush it, still take losers. And I'm just expecting this to really take off one way or the other. And if we go higher, oh man, we could go way, way higher today. You know what? Let's do something here since let's try to let's maybe look at the 4 hour. Look what I shorted. It looks terrible on the 4 hour. Oh man, I had the legal authority to do so per my trading plan. I got to break a structure. I got to return to the order block. I took it. It is what it is. Hate to short something that looks like that though. There's a big dump. Could it be more bear bait though? I've done this a few times. Dumped out of that area. Is it bear bait? Is the computer going, we don't quite have enough stops up here yet to really fuel this run 100 points higher. So let's just throw a big red candle out there and catch some bears with it. That's what could be going on. What were we going to do here? Oh, we were going to look for potential targets higher to the high side. When was the last time we were at 46? We're going to need to go back. We're going to have to look at least a daily, I think. Okay. Wow, look how long it's been since we've been at this high. April of last year, over a year. Wow. Did not realize that. Wow. So it's been over a year. I knew it had been a long time. I didn't know it had been that long. So it's been a very long time since we've been this high. Does that matter? Not really, but if we're looking for targets, like if we go to the upside, there is a daily order block up here, bearish order block, that we should probably go ahead and make note of, just in case we do go higher. We want to make sure we're not like longing up there. Come on, TradingView, you can do it. Thank you. Should be red. Wix needs to say OB if. I'm going to just keep an eye on that in case this thing goes higher, which may or may not today, but it could in the coming days. So we shall see. Okay. Tried. I was trying. Just look at tons of bullish absorption here. Look at this. Every time on the 5 minute, it's gotten below the 21. Scooped up wicks, y'all. So I'm not going to get excited about it until we see something change with that, because so far this is getting scooped. It's hard to think that that is some sort of coincidence. Well, we can move the stop here, and we're going to go ahead and do that because it's just as clear of an invalidation. If we crest this area right here, then most certainly, we are wrong. After all that movement and all the push you saw happening there, it never got above that opening candle high. So it's possible that this opening candle could itself be a massive bearish order block, or in this case, it would be a propulsion block off of this first one that was created in the pre-market. If we go lower, which I'm not super convinced is what's happening here yet. Have not convinced me yet of these. It would make sense if we do. It would make sense. This strategy is like, the 65% win rate range. So about 2 out of 3. When you get this break of structure and a return to the order block, you're going to see it move and make new lows. But as you can see, here we go again. The first, so we're just about halfway through this candle, and it's already showing you that it wants to respect that 21. Not super convinced yet. Not super convinced this is going to take us lower, but it has been pretty choppy. So it could just be a day where we chop around, at this elevated point. Those were the most frustrating days when I first started trading. We would gap up. When you first start trading, you think gaps are the best thing in the world, and the best things to trade. And something would gap up, and then it would just leak higher the whole day. And I was such a noob and such a dope that I would literally be short the whole day, just watching it go against me. Such a fool. I was such a fool. And this could be one of those days. If this were a Friday, I would be more worried about that. There's plenty of time between today and tomorrow. Look, the computer's going to go find its liquidity wherever it can, and it's going to go take it. That's what it does. So at this point, we're able to vet the invalidity of this trade down to 3.5 points. So essentially right now, the way I have it structured, where the target is, where the stop is, we're risking 350 to make 1,000. I think in order to get down here where this target is, we would need a really big and sort of quick sell-off. There's tons of support ultimately so far, and the 21 has been flipped again on the 1 minute. That very gap isn't actually there, just hasn't been erased yet. It only refreshes that every 10 seconds or 15 seconds or something. So another return to the order block. So who's getting baited here? This is almost like a coin toss at this point. Lots of wicks on the bottom, lots of wicks on the top. Not a really clear bullish order block here. It doesn't mean it can't go higher. There just isn't a really clear bullish order block that the market is pinging off of. Whereas there's kind of a clear bearish order block, right? So again, if I gun in my head, I'd want to be short here versus long because of that and because of the breaker structure and return to that order block. But man, this 21 just continues to get saved by the bulls. And that to me looks like, bullish accumulation, or you could call it bullish absorption of these sellers. And if you're going to ultimately, take this thing way, way higher, which obviously if this breaks, that's what's happening. I think it'd be very unlikely for this to just get swept and then move lower. Could. I think that would be pretty unlikely. The more likely scenario would be like this just blasts through, because there's going to be all kinds of stops up here, right? It just blasts through this and then comes back to this and then ratchets higher, and we just have some mega crazy day. Let's take a look at Meta actually and see how it's holding up on the day. Look at that massive gap up, and it's hanging out, not going anywhere off of that. Look at this. Good Lord. So that's holding up pretty well. Tesla not the star today. It's starting to break down a little bit, but just barely. Nothing too crazy there. All right, back down here. Okay. That sound means that I can move my stop to break even. So now I have a break even trade. Risk is off the table. I'd say it's probably 50-50 I get stopped out of break even here. I mean, we've seen the price come back up here so many times, I think it's more clear that we're in a sell program now, but I am going to follow my plan. I'm going to be a good boy. Let's see, was it 30.25? So if I went for 5 handles, it would still have to break that low. Yeah, so much bullish absorption. I just don't know if I even did that. So if I go for 5 handles here, this is the safe route to take with this particular market action. For this opening trade. We're about to enter the silver bullet hour. There's a very good chance I get stopped out here, break even, which I can live with. It's just a matter of if this sell program is going to start respecting some of the bearish signals or not. It just hasn't been, it just hasn't been. And so I'm fine. I'm fine with a break-even trade. It is what it is, if that's the case. If we were in a sell program, I would expect us to get a little more respect on some of that stuff, like these bearish fair value gaps and whatnot. Just isn't really given a lot of love to those. And so it could be one of those days where it does eventually get there, but it's just very, very choppy, in which case my trading plan and the idea of moving the stop up would actually hurt us a little bit. And so that is possible. Let me put this back here to break even. I just don't like how you can't see. There we go. How do I get it to stay like that? There we go. then if I go over this, then I'll change it. Okay. Look at all the bullish absorption here. If this comes back up and closes above the 21, I mean, my goodness. The level of accumulation. Could this be, bull trap? Sure. Of course. Could be. But okay, we got a jumper. See that on the 5 minute, we got a jumper to the downside right at 7 a.m. So that is more encouraging for the short position, although it's still struggling to get any lower than we got on the opening candle. We are still inside of the, check this out. You'll almost never see this. The first half hour, so the entire opening range is the first candle of the day, the first 5 minute candle. We are still inside of the opening candles range on the 5 minute chart. How wild is that? That's crazy. I mean, that is crazy. Bananas. I got the jumper lower. It's gonna be interesting to see if that actually does anything for us or not. It's not always when you get a jumper that it means that, hey, we're about to catapult in that direction. Sometimes it actually can be the inverse. Like this would go up, let's say, and then come back and like hit that, and that would be a place to buy it. But I do like to keep an eye on those because that does seem to be a place where price likes to reject from when you see a jumper, particularly on the 5 minute. You see a lot more of them obviously on the 1 minute or the shorter time or the lower time frames, but particularly on the 5 minute, I see those get a lot of respect. So like if this were to come down, let's say, and like hit here and then come back up to that jumper, that might be a place where it would continue. I would put our odds now of getting stopped out at break even a little bit better than 50-50. Every time we get rejection, it just gets absorbed. That's the first close below the 21, though, right there on the shift to the 7 a.m. candle. Or sorry, the 10 a.m. I'm trying to remember Eastern. Sort of grinding lower, but showing a lot of signs of strength. I mean, look at all these wicks. I'm happy to be at break even with a stop, I'll just tell you, because a ton of bullish absorption, just a ton. Got a jumper higher on the 1 minute there. See that? Jumper. This is the kind of trade where if I wasn't live streaming right now, I would be just sitting back in my couch back there and just listening. It's going to make the same sound either way. Ching! Like, that's the sound that's going to make. It's just a matter of whether that's a break-even sound or 5 handle sound. That's the only question. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to move this up just in case I get some slippage. And at this point, it's same. If it gets to there, it's going to get me anyway. Getting some respect from the 21 over here on the 1 minute. Getting some respect there. Finally actually seeing some respect from a bearish fair value gap here. That actually held right there. So that is good news for our position right here. And we got it. So there you go. All right. I'm good with that. 5 handles. Boy, we put us through. The market just pushed through hell, didn't it? Let's take a look back at this guy here. when you look at it on the chart, it looks so easy, doesn't it? Because look, it always puts this up here. It doesn't tell you that, hey, your entry was actually right there, down there. Bada boom, bada bing. So I'm seeing some bearish respect there. Remember the jumper as well? That also helped us catapult to that new low. And now you can probably see continuation. I do expect a bounce out of this area right here. Oh, some kind of bounce. If it gets down here, which it looks like it will now. But yeah, when you look at it on the chart, when I post this on Twitter, which we're live on Twitter right now as well. When I post it on Twitter, though, it's going to look like, oh yeah, he shorted it right there, and then he bought it right there. We actually did buy it. Did we get the wick? Wow, the wick bottom on that one. The low for the day. Just hit it again. It's going lower, y'all. Market putting people through some things right now. It's going to be it for me today, I believe. I feel like going and seeing if my daughter's awake and playing with her before work today. So I think that's what we're going to do. So, once again, I was able to talk the market out of stopping me out. Oh, look at this. So got in there. Okay. Got to the midway point. 15, definitely going to be a bounce out of that. If you've just been watching and, not, doing anything in this market, like, oh man, should have shorted. I should have done this. I should have done that. It's easy to, it's easy to beat yourself up. It's easy to look back at it. I mean, look what we went through here. We went through hell with this thing. We were up for a while. We were down. It was against us a ton right out the gates. It was totally against us out the gates. And it's funny because right where I shorted it, see that jumper? I shorted it at the jumper, which is right where I was looking to short it. Pre-market, we were looking right here in this area. Would have essentially been the same thing at the end of the day. That 15-minute is violated. See you later. Probably would have ended up being a 10-handle trade. But you saw the same bullish absorption that I saw. Now we know that was retail. And it was a bull trap. It was. Somebody was getting trapped. Go back to why was I short? There is something to learn there. Why was I short? I said it multiple times. Get into my head, hey, if you had to do something here, I'd pick this because of this. Why? On this big volatility candle, and you can notice this anytime there's big volatility candles, whether it's FOMC day or big announcement, data, etc. Watch who gets respected and who gets disrespected. This most recent bullish order block got disrespected, flushed out. The most recent bearish order block got respected. So when you see those big volatility candles, you got to look for that and know that that's your clue. That's your hint from the market that, hey, we've got a bearish scenario building here. We've got a bias to the downside. Man. Oh. value gap there, getting a bounce. Nope, it's actually an order block. Bullish order block plus the fair value gap, getting a little bounce there. I don't think it's going to be enough to turn this around, though. This is pretty heavy. Coming out, remember this weekly order block, we haven't been in for over a year. We haven't been this high for over a year. That's pretty wild. That typically induce some selling, and it is. Okay, I'm going to call it, guys. Hopefully this was fun for you. I'm going to see if I can cuddle my daughter for a bit. I'll see you next week. Happy handling. Hope you made some money as well. Today trading, good luck to you out there. Be careful. This is not financial advice. This is really just for me so that I can become better at trading myself. Staying focused, talking through all this stuff. It could help you if you're a newer trader to see how does it work? How does someone go through this process? How does someone follow a plan? How does someone actually have winning trades and do it unemotionally and not trade a million times a day? To only make 1 or 2 trades a day, and very, very frequently, they're winners. It may help you to watch someone do that. So why not? Why not stream it live instead of just recording it for myself? That's what's going on here. I will not be trading tomorrow. I say that most likely will be, I'm going to be on the road for a little bit in the morning. So my window that I'd like to trade in is not going to be available to me. I probably won't trade tomorrow, but I'll be back next week and I'll see you then. Peace, my friends.